Don't want to mess this.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this pre-show talk for Crowns, the gospel musical. This musical is inspired by the coffee table book, Crowns, a portrait of African-American women in their hats. Each hat helps to ignite a memory of these women. And through the memories that were collected by Craig Marbury and the photographs, the portraits of the women in the book Crowns, they in turn inspired Regina Taylor to write first a play that was produced with the McCarter Theater and at the Goodman. And that play, because so much of the church is rooted in not only the word but also in music, inspired a musical. And that's what you are going to witness this afternoon. But before we begin, I have a question. What do you have in your home? What article? It could be an article of clothing, it could be a piece of furniture, but something that ignites a memory for you. Can you think about that just for a second? And can I get some responses? Something, yes, sir.
A rug.
A rug. A rug inspires a memory. Can you tell me just a clue?
I bought it back from China.
Travel. The rug inspires a memory of travel, yes.
I don't have a rug, I need one. But I do have a table that was made out of a black walnut tree in my great-grandfather's backyard.
Reminds you of your great-grandfather and his beautiful yard from which this tree provided the wood for a table. Yes.
A rocking chair.
Ah, and who sat in that rocking chair?
It was my husband's grandmother's chair, and it was in our bedroom every time he visited his family.
Generationally. Yes.
I have a little embroidered pillow of a rooster.
Ah, and what memory?
It's my mother. My mother loved chickens and roosters, but she loved all birds. But she loved chickens, and she would feed the chickens all the time. And it was just such a peaceful way to start every morning.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, ma'am.
So my great-grandmother's kitchen covered with glass fronts that I didn't know her, but when I was little, it was in my grandmother's attic. It was never her main floor, but it was very special to go for attic.
So in the attic, there was a piece of furniture that connected you there again to a family member. So for these women, the hats connect them to a memory of a person, a place, a moment, a milestone in their family history, in their personal history through their spiritual journey. Well, you're going to find out in our musical that this idea of the crown, the hat that is worn by these religious women, is an expression of their faith, worshiping God, putting on their Sunday best. Now let's find out, why was this important? During the time of slavery in our country, the women and men who worked in the field, the children working alongside them, worked Monday through Saturday. But Sunday was their off day. But did they rest, lying in bed all day? No, that was a time then to worship God and to put on their Sunday best. That one outfit that they set aside for worshiping of God. And even that field hat that they wore to protect them from the sun during the week would be embellished with feathers, with flowers, with other articles of nature. So that even that brim, that hat, that crown they wore during the week took on a very special purpose on Sunday as they dressed their best for the master, not being the earthly master, but the heavenly master, God. Well, we find out that this idea of worshiping God through adornment can be traced to our African ancestry. And in our play, we are tracing it to our West African ancestry. On this vision board, you will see with this kente, Ghana, the kente and the kippah that is worn, that's the small hat. that is worn by the holy man here. The gele, the beautiful material, colorful material, is wrapped in such a way that indicates not only worshiping God through the practical, but also indicates your status in the community. How large it is, the different folds you wear in the gele, the material that is wrapped on the head, indicates, are you a wife? Are you a mother? Are you a grandmother? Are you the wife of the chief or the king? What is your role? Are you a person who helps to bring life, usher in life, as in being a midwife? Are you a person who is a singer, a praiser? This wrapping of the gele indicates your place in that particular society. Same as in Nigeria, the gele and the colors also indicate your personality, your name, your personality, the colors that you wear. And we'll talk about that a little more as we talk about the women in our production and the one man. These crowns have found from West Africa, have found their way to the United States. It's kind of like a memory, an ancestral memory. All of a sudden, the designs of these hats, the women wear, the crowns, are present in the designs that we are wearing today in our churches. If you look, you will see in the shape of some of the hats, the South African Zulu shape of the crown. You will see the geles, the kufis, those hats that are close to the scalp, that don't have a brim on them. The kippas is another way of speaking of these particular designs. And even the really large hats that shield us from the sun, that keep that youthful appearance. There again, practical, but beautiful as well. A crown, a hatitude, first of all. Hatitude, you're going to hear that phrase. Hatitude, something you possess in order to wear a hat well. And if you're going to wear something this large, if you are going to wear something this colorful, this tall, then you indeed have to have the right hatitude. Because then you're going to have to carry yourself a certain way. And these crowns, by the way, that the women wear are very costly. They have to save for months at a time in order to earn their crown. So then we have to make sure that we know how to take care of it, store it in boxes, put away with paper, only brought out in the proper season, so you know that in winter you're going to wear wool, maybe felt. In spring you are going to wear maybe some silk. In summer, straw, linen. So there are different materials that are used for the different seasons. Yolanda, in our musical crown, says, the more I study Africa, the more I see that African Americans do very African things without even knowing it. Adorning the head is one of those things. Whether it's the intricate braids, or the distinct hairstyles, or the beautiful hats we wear on Sundays. We just know inside that we are queens, and these are the crowns we wear. On Sunday morning in our churches across the United States, when the women come into the church wearing these stately hats, you don't know who is the doctor, the lawyer, the teacher, or the domestic worker. Everyone is dressed in her Sunday best. She's walking with dignity and respect, her head held high, and wearing her crown. You say, does this really happen? Is this really true? Do women really wear crowns like this, these hats? Well, here's the proof. On the bottom of my vision board, these are the women of Calvary Baptist Church, and I happen to be a member of Calvary Baptist Church and have been ever since I was 5 weeks old, been attending Calvary Baptist Church. Well, here they are. And there are various examples of, believe it or not, reaching back to our vision board. There's the representation, the small pillbox hat, the little brim, the cloche, such as I'm wearing right now, the wide hat with all the feathers, the small wrapping. In fact, Patrice Bishop Wise is sitting here at this table, and her photo is here. Usually you'll see her wrapped in more of the African cloths to create the galas. There is a woman at our church by the name of Janelle Elder Green. She's not coming today, but she will be attending one or probably two performances. She is what is called a hat queen. A hat queen must own at least 100 hats. Janelle Elder Green owns over 200 hats. The second floor of her home, which is a Milwaukee, the bungalow, Craftsman Bungalow, is dedicated to pocketbooks, shoes, hats, and outfits because she matches. Did you see the hat she had on today? Yes. It looks like it was going to be a wedding cake or something. She matches literally from head to toe. And because she is a retired, she was a teacher and then she worked in public relations for Milwaukee Public School, she felt, well, I have to represent the school well when she is out teaching or out speaking, and also she's a member of a sorority. And so she wears a lot of her sorority colors in her hats. And if you look, you'll see she's wearing green, and they're green again, and a lot of green. So, and it's not because her name is Janelle Elder Green, but because she's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and their colors are pink and green. So a lot of her hats, and I do mean hats. The one she had on today was big, and it had 2 layers to it, and it had a row of ruffles going all the way around. Yes, Janelle Elder Green has over 200 hats. She is indeed a hat queen. So a hat queen is a woman who owns at least 100 crowns, hats. A crown can be considered a reward or victory, a royal or imperial headdress, the highest point, such as the upper part of a hat or a mountain, a circular ornament for the head, something that imparts splendor, honor, or finish. And all of those apply, believe it or not, to the women who wear these crowns, because they're trying to get close to God in the height, right, of their crowns. They wear them with splendor, and they indicate royalty. Now, in our story, we also reach back to the African continent through the Yoruba tradition. Yoruba, to be a Yoruba, you are a member of a West African people living chiefly in southwest Nigeria, and they have a belief system, a cultural tradition that comes from the people and language of the Congo. In this tradition, certain colors are associated with personalities. Red, yellow, green, blue, and white. The 5 colors. Those sound familiar, don't they? They're like our what? Our what? Primary colors. But these colors represent a certain personality. That's what you're going to see in the play today. Our women, who are church women, but you know, as Yolanda told us, the character Yolanda, we do very African things. In our story, our color that Velma, the character Velma wears, is purple. Velma is very tall and stately. The woman who plays her is as well. Her hat, because she's already over 6 feet tall, and you will see her on stage, she's over 6 feet tall, she doesn't need a high hat. So her hat is flatter and wide. Both of her hats that you see her wearing, they're flat and wide. She carries herself as royalty. She wears purple. As she proclaims, I am indeed a hat queen. The one man in our show represents the preacher, the brother, the father, the husband. He is transforming into all of the different roles that the men in the lives, men in the lives of the women play. But his preacher's robe, and you're seeing right here is a kente print, but his preacher's robe is authentic woven kente, which comes from Ghana, which is the color that the priests or the people that are high-ranking in Ghanaian society wear. So that's why his preacher's robe will be trimmed in kente. Maybelle is the wife of the preacher. She's the first lady of the church. And she wears red. She is fiery, yes, but she is also very present. Red. You can't miss red. Anytime you see red, right? And this is the way it is for the first lady of the church. We all see her. In our character, Wanda wears gold. She is earthy. Where does gold come from? Yes. She has an earthy quality, and she is golden in her heart. She has a golden, her memories are very precious. And the way she presents herself has a very calm, rooted, grounded demeanor. Okay? Now, our Jeanette, who wears the blue, Jeanette is like water. She's graceful, and you'll see the way she walks, it's like she's water flowing as she walks. Jeanette. She also is tall and kind of a life quality to her, all right? Who you don't see represented here is Yolanda. Yolanda is the catalyst for our story. Yolanda is the 16-year-old girl who is from Brooklyn, New York, who, much like a lot of our young people today, has experienced some level of tragedy. And in this case, she has lost her brother due to a violent act. She's going through the process of grief, but she's stuck at anger. She cannot get past anger. And a lot of our young people are there, stuck in anger. And a lot of our schools no longer have the school psychologists. Do you remember in school you had a school psychologist? Guidance counselors, sometimes they call them, right? You could go and you could talk to that person. Who do they talk to? Who do they talk to? Well, her family doesn't know what to do with her. So what they decide to finally do is send her down south to Big Mama, to Mother Shaw, who is covered in white. Whenever you see in African society someone who's dressed in white from head to toe, they are a holy person. And she is considered the prayer warrior of the community. She is dressed in white from head to toe throughout the show. Oh, I'm starting to rhyme. That means it's almost time. I'm sorry, I get like that. I don't mean to. It just happens. Mother Shaw knows how to love a child back to themselves. And with the women in the community, they surround her. We take so lightly that African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, they come together to save the child. That's what this village is doing. This village of women who know how to pray, how to praise, and how to have fun too. This is not a downer. It's a fun, silly ride. I hope you're ready to do some laughing, because that's a part of it too. Oppressed people know how to laugh and how to entertain themselves. I always say, who are the greatest comedians? African Americans and Jewish people. Because we've been through some things. And the only way you survive it is with humor, right? So, those are the women and men of Crowns, the gospel musical. I want to say something about this idea of sending the kids down south. When I was a kid, that's what you did. Not only if you got in trouble, but just to give your parents a break sometimes. You sent the child down to
Big Mama's house.
Big Mama's house, to Grandma, Mississippi, and to Kentucky, and to Louisiana. That's where my family sent me. And at night you saw stars, because there were no street lights. And you went to the barn and you got an egg and it was warm in your hands. Not cold from the refrigerator. And you had to help feed the turkeys. And I was so afraid of them. They were huge. I didn't know turkeys were that large. Anyway, you had to feed the turkeys because you had a job to do. When you send a child down south, they are immersed in the culture and immersed in love. Yes, on Monday through Friday, you went to Vacation Bible School. Then on Thursday evening, you went to choir rehearsal. On Wednesday, you went to Bible study after being in Vacation Bible School all day. And you had to do your chores before all that. And then on Saturday, you had to go visit the sick and the shut-in and do your other chores. And then on Sunday, you went to church, and after church, you ate a little something, you went back for BYF, Baptist.
Youth Fellowship.
Okay. And then there was probably some usher program or something. So literally all day Sunday, Monday through Friday, on Saturday, and by the time you had 2 or 3 weeks of that, you went home ready to do whatever mom and dad told you to do. All right. So, crowns, the wonderful hats we wear as a form of worship, a form of beauty. Going down south, an opportunity to immerse a child in culture and love. Colors we wear to indicate our personalities, our roots evident in the designs of these crowns, all inspired by a book, expressed through gospel music which is rooted in the blues. The father of gospel music, Dr. Thomas Dorsey, who settled right here in Chicago down the road, was first Georgia Tom, who accompanied Ma Rainey and Bessie Smith. After the tragic loss of his wife and child after childbirth, prayed to God through a song that he instantaneously, the psalmistry, wrote called Precious Lord, Take My Hand. He wrote that out of tragedy and began a movement which was called gospel music, rooted in the blue notes of blues and that swooping and the swaying and the voice, the human voice going up and down and sliding through a note from the blues. But now the music has a heavenly message, the gospel. In this play, you're going to hear gospel music. You will hear rap, which is the music of the young generation. Rap, rhythm, and poetry, right? Rhythm and poetry. You will hear a little bit of work song, which gave people encouragement through oppression and helped them get through depression. The music of the road worker, the music of the sharecropper, okay? And you will hear hymns and anthems, because the African American church experience is not just gospel music. It's all of this experience. And you'll hear spirituals. So today, get ready to tap your foot, to clap your hands, to feel like you're going to shout. Participate, it's okay. In crowns. Do you have any questions for me? Anything that was not covered? I tried to be as comprehensive as I could. Yes?
How many of the hats that we will see today were found, and how many were created?
We have Barry Link, our costume designer, working with Haley, also in the costume shop. You've gone in the costume shop, you've seen these molds. Some of them were actually molded and created using those regular molds. Others were hats that were found and then embellished. And there were a couple hats that were ordered from one of my favorite resources called ASHRO. A-S-H-R-O. ASHRO. This is a catalog online, and sometimes they'll send the catalog to your home of African inspired fashion and attire. Okay? So I'm going to say the majority of them were created by Barry, either from scratch or embellished, but only 2 were purchased. And there are over 24 hats in our show. Okay. Yes?
I just want to say we were really excited to come and see the show, and I know we're going to love it. But I think you are so cute that I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Where did the ladies in town get their hats? Or like this lady that has so many, does she make some of her own, or
She travels all over the world, and she orders from Asheville, but also, like, do you know Jane O'Connell? She's a long time supporter, patron, hard worker, volunteer here at Skylight Music Theater. Jane, like Jane O'Connell, she has a private milliner because she doesn't want anybody else to have her same hat. So there are at least 2 milliners here in the city. Please forgive me that I cannot recall their names off the top of my head. But there's another woman who will order from milliners. Her name is Pat Salas, and she has a shop called, I think it's called Soul Salvation, like S-O-L-E, Salvation. And she also orders these fantastic crowns for people custom. All right, and you had a question?
The colors, like the one person always wear purple, or is their mood or what they're doing that particular time?
They will, as far as our characters, all wear their colors or some aspect of that color throughout the show. But there are some people, if you are part of the Yoruba Society, and we do have, believe it or not, people in Milwaukee who are members of the Yoruba Society, they always wear white, from head to toe. Summer, winter, spring, and fall. Of course, it might be white wool. It might be white cotton. It might be some other form of, but it should be nothing synthetic. That's the other thing. These, you notice, when you look at these samples from our caftans that were created by Barry, by the way, you notice how you turn it over them, it's just as beautiful on one side as it is on the other. He ordered these fabrics from the original countries, Nigeria, Kenya, Cameroon. So these prints are authentic prints. They are not, see, you look, they're just as pretty on one side as they are the other. When you turn over a print and on the other side of it, it's plain or white or something like that, that's not an authentic African print. It's not from the continent of Africa. That's a knockoff. The African prints, you could wear it inside out. It's beautiful on either side. And some of these prints are what they call wax block prints, which meant they had to use layers of colors and wax to prevent the certain colors from touching the others. These fabrics, you can wear them, you can hand them down to your great-grandchildren. They will never fade. Am I right? They will never, ever fade. They are just, they're beautiful. You take care of them, they will last you to generations and generations. And oftentimes, they are handed down from the grand to the great-grand to the great-great, you know, they just keep passing it down throughout the family. Okay? Thank you for that question. Anyone else? Yes. Yes. Oh, I have never gone.
I've been to Mauritania, and I have been to South Africa,
Oh.
and I have been to Senegal and Dakar.
Oh my
I went
gosh.
to university in Senegal and Dakar in Mauritania.
Oh.
I have a daughter in South Africa who met my son years ago.
Yes.
So needless to say, a lot of South African stuff comes into her speaking. And
Yes.
and so on.
Yes.
So the question I have is this. I have worked with different populations, I'm a psychotherapist and a professor, and I'm wondering if the girls, the young women today, from your family, my family, are they following some of the traditions that you so eloquently
Well,
talk about?
guess what? Rhythm and poetry rap,
Yes.
they don't know it, but that is a part of the tradition, and I'm going to tell you why. Whenever you watch a rapper, and I'm going to say he because most of them are males, they're standing there.
Yes.
They're expounding on history, something contemporary or something in the past, but it's something that's really happening. There are musicians around them, right? They're playing, they're right? And then on either side of them, they have people dancing. Well, the griots always travel with this ensemble.
Okay.
The griot stands and talks about the kings and the number of rains and when there was a drought and who married whom and when so-and-so was buried. As he is, and in the tradition of the griot, it's always a man, there are these girls on the side, right? While he's, right? And then there are the drummers, playing djembes and playing jum-jums, while the griot's standing there. Isn't that a carryover? The kids don't even realize it, but they're just reenacting in our 21st century vernacular what has been going on for centuries on the continent of Africa. So when they think they're doing something new, I often tell them, check this out. And I go to YouTube, thank goodness for YouTube, and I can show them a griot doing the same thing in Nigeria, in Cameroon, with the Zulus, and they said, hey, Sherry. I said, there's really nothing new under the sun, and it's in your DNA. But know why you do it. Know your roots. Thank you for asking that question. Yes.
Have you ever been to Cudahy? They got some real colors there.
Let me tell you, Milwaukee is my home, and just today, this is going to make you laugh. My husband, I fell asleep, but my husband said he was watching Saturday Night Live last night, and they did a skit on Fond du Lac.
Yes.
And, okay, so you know what I'm talking about? He says, honey, the same thing they're doing in Fond du Lac we do in Milwaukee. It's just we all are doing it our own way. Because wherever you are, you bring who you are with you, don't you? So you bring your culture with your accents and with your style of dress, the way you express yourself culturally. So I love it. So yes, Cudahy, I love it. Ain't it, huh? Yeah.
You know why I'm here, Mrs. Pinnell?
Isn't that time? You mean I get to finish eating my...
You get to finish eating! Was this a treat or what? I'm so proud to have her in the building, so happy to have her here. And you will really be excited by what you see when you go into the theater. Anyone need directions? You know where you're sitting, everyone? This is the Dress Circle, DC. If your ticket says ORC on it, you're down the orchestra, down the ground floor.